Hey, my name is Spencer Bauke, and I am here with the solution video for week 21. And this week, we are going to be discussing field parameters in Power BI. So, in May, this was a big release for the Power BI desktop user experience. And so, we're going to be covering this in our challenge today. You can see below that the point of today's video is to create a field parameter, to deploy it into our tool, and to make sure that we understand how to create them and how they work. So we're going to dive right into that. So we are going to be using the Superstore dataset that is available to you all via the link in our challenge, and I can pull that up for you right now. So if you go down, you can check it out on data.world, and it is a pretty easy model to figure out. We're really just going to be using the orders table in this model. So as long as you have the orders table downloaded, you're going to be all right. So let's take one more look at the challenge that we want to create. So what we want to do is we want to have a bar chart, KPI, and a line trend broken out by the same segments that we have here on the left-hand side. So we want to be able to toggle between segment, region, category, state, subcategory, city, and we want to see all the different breakouts. And so what this allows us to do is to really bypass some of the switch functionality or using the switch function in Power BI or the DAX function to achieve this same sort of parameter-based functionality. So what we're really wanting here is to have a parameter that we are plugging in one value for this axis and one value in for this legend, and selecting on that parameterized field and have that populate your visual. So the new feature that Power BI released is called field parameters, and so we're going to take a look at those right now. So we have our data model. Creating field parameters is pretty easy. All we're going to do is we're going to go to modeling at the top, and we're going to go to new parameter. Now, if you're familiar with the parameters here from older versions of Power BI Desktop, this would have said what if parameter, and you would have clicked it and you could have been creating a numeric parameter. You would have been able to choose a field, the interval, and then have that be a variable that you could then reference in a DAX calculation. That is now called the numeric range parameters. Now, the ones that we're going to use are called field parameters. So I'm going to click that, and this is going to enable me to switch between those fields, as I mentioned earlier. So this pop-up box appears. We still want to be able to do fields. We can name this parameter field. That works. And then all we have to do, it's very simple, choose what fields we want to be able to select in our challenge. So there's segment, there is category, subcategory, and then region, state, and city. So you notice I just dragged and dropped those over to the fields. You can, once they're in here, you can reorder them. Region, state, city. And it's also saying, hey, should I add this slicer to the page? Sure, I'm going to need it anyway, so let's just create that shortcut. So all you have to do is click create. And now you have this slicer. Obviously, we have nothing on here, so there's nothing that it's going to be slicing. But it will in just 1 second. So let's drag this guy over here. So let's just take a quick peek at what was created, so you can actually see on the right-hand side. Now the parameter field parameter is created, and you can see the DAX that is created from that parameter field. And so you can see it's identifying this field segment, category, and all the segments here, and returning this field when quote this string value segment is there, and then the last part orders them all, and so you can see these guys in this order here as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and recreate the dashboard that we saw earlier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this KPI card out, and the KPI is margin. I'm going to bring that. And I am going to do a little bit of formatting because it does say that I want to showing some rounded corners. So I'm actually going to turn this. You saw it going to general effects, visual border. I turned it on because I do want some little rounded corners, although I don't want that actual color on that side. So what I'm going to do is I can visual border color. Manage the internal. So there you go. So now I got that little rounded corners. Let's just do the tiniest bit of drop shadow too. Sorry for going back and forth on this, but let's just do a little bit of the drop shadow. And we can just drop shadow. Where we go at size 1, blur 1, not 100, 1, angle 90, distance 4. I don't know if that is looking exactly how I want it to, but it's fine. All right, cool. Just gives us a little shadow here. That's fine. Okay, so now we're going to, it's not very important. That's not even the goal of this, so sorry for getting distracted. What I'm going to do, I just like to do that because I think it's just one step quicker than format painting. And so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to turn this into the bar chart that we want to create. And so if you look at your optional fields here, and this y-axis is actually, it's not populated yet. That's where we want to put the field for our parameter. And so we go down to the table that was created in our model with the field parameter. We drag that into the y-axis. And now you can see the defaulted value selected in that filter segment, and that is what is showing here in your y-axis. And so that is what's showing here. So now if I go click on category, category is showing. You go to subcategory, region, city, state, and they break out accordingly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to take that parameter value and I'm going to stick it on legend. And so that legend will adjust as I again go through those values. So just wanted you to know that. So here, let's line this up and let's create our last field, and that's going to be our trending, our trend line. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and instead of the y-axis being our margin, the y-axis is actually going to be our order date. I'm just going to use the year. Oh, that should be our x-axis. I'm sorry, getting my axes confused here. So that is going to be our x-axis. Oops. You know what? That's trying to create a bar chart. This is a line chart. Sorry. So my x-axis is in fact going to be my year. My legend is still going to be this, but my y-axis is now going to be the 100%. And there you have it. So now you see that when this gets sliced or changes the field parameter value, that it breaks out that trend line accordingly. So one last thing to show, it's, again, it's not necessarily related to field parameters, but this is kind of, I don't necessarily want this looking like this. So what I want to do is I want to go over here to the values here to my slicer settings. And I'm going to change this to horizontal. So what that does is it's going to make it a chiclet slicer layout. And so you can kind of play with the formatting and how you want it to show. And then I am going to get rid of the slicer header. That's what I want to get rid of. And I did want to make the background properties back, so I'm going to turn the background off. So there you go. So now you have your chiclet slicer, and you're able to go and break out both your bar chart and your line chart by this parameterized value. It's really cool. It's super simple to make. It will save you a lot of time with DAX. It is a very useful feature, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the other cool things that people use it for. I'm excited to see some of those use cases. So hope you found this helpful. Thank you all for watching this week's solution video, and we hope to see you next week.